Welcome to Conversations in the Coop. I'm your host, Trinity Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith. It's my pleasure to be joined in this conversation by a pair of wrestling bantams, Adam and Alex Schaeublin. Guys, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about wrestling today. We're also going to just talk about what I can only imagine was a lot of bustle in your household growing up with in a wrestling household. So let's talk about getting into the sport before we get to wrestling at Trinity. Where did it come from in your family, and just how did wrestling come into your guys' world?
Well, we both have an older brother named Joe. He's around 10 years older than me, and he started wrestling in high school. So when we were like little, like 5-6 years old, and I just remember we went to everything, and it was like the type of thing where he started doing it and just took over our family. And once we started doing it, we got involved with like the New England wrestling community, started making friends, and then sooner or later we were just full-fledged, just only wrestling. No football, no basketball. It just took over.
Yeah. So Adam, you're 18 months older, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Alex, I can only imagine you've got this older brother who's now wrestling. Wrestling starts to be a thing, and you're probably 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And your brother who's 18 months older wants to wrestle you all the time. I mean, is that kind of how it went, or?
It was kind of just we saw like our older brother do it, and then like we were just so young, so it was like, I don't know, we were like going to the practices, and like we picked it up like very quick because we started like at such a young age, and like the club we went to, it was like a lot of the same kids, like similar to us, where we just like we didn't really know what we were doing, but we wanted to get into it, so we all just kind of like progressed at like the same time, and we just all picked it up pretty quickly.
Did your parents ever have to have any rules about like not bringing stuff home from the gym and not trying it on each other?
Still today,
Yeah.
Actually, there's times where we'll be wrestling in the basement and we forget that we're not little kids anymore, and you'll hear a loud bang, and then my mom's like, oh no. But we're definitely a little bit more disciplined about it now. We keep it kind of in the wrestling room, but there was definitely a lot of times where wrestling matches would turn into fights, turn into stuff breaks, but just.
What was the worst? Like, is there something you remember, either of you remember, that like got broken where you're like, okay, we've really got to get it together now?
I think we knocked down our entire Christmas tree one year when we were wrestling, right by our Christmas tree, and got a little. Actually, this was like not that long ago, like a few years back. We were bigger kids and we were wrestling, and I remember things got a little physical, and tree just went down. All the ornaments.
There was like fake snow everywhere too.
Yeah, it was bad.
So, Alex, as the younger brother, were you able to kind of dodge maybe the worst of the punishment? Because you're just kind of being dragged into this as the younger guy, or no?
I mean, yeah, equal? Sometimes, yeah. But, yeah. I mean, most of the time they would just tell him to, like, stop because they think he's just, like, annoying. But, like, a lot of times we're just wrestling, and then, like, something would happen. Like, we'd run into something, or someone would, like, get hurt by accident. Like normal brother things like that.
Yeah.
It's also perfect having someone that's, despite me being 18 months older, I was always like max 10, 15 pounds heavier. So it was perfect to have, like I had a drill partner all the time. And it benefited us a lot.
So at the point where you kind of transitioned to where we're now wrestling all the time, and we're not, we're kind of pushing out those other sports, was that around the same time where you said, I want to kind of see how far I can go with this, see if I can, have the discipline to do this in college?
Well, it actually started where we both stepped away from the sport in like 7th or 8th grade. Yeah. We both wanted to be the next point guards, the next Steve Nashes, but we couldn't really do that. The height wasn't really there for us, but it took us walking away and like having a full year without wrestling to realize like maybe this actually was what we wanted to do, because it is a really tough sport. It's tough to stay the course at all times, especially when you're wrestling 365 days a year. So I think that year off really made us come back and got us more motivated too, because it made us feel like, wow, we kind of stepped away from this. Now it's time to like actually make the most of like we have this 4 years in high school and now potentially in college. So that's what kind of sparked it, I feel like, for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say like right after that point was like when like COVID hit. So we kind of like, I don't know, we like lost motivation, but we also like gained it because like we had nothing else to like really do.
It's just me.
Yeah. So we would just like wrestle like in our basement, and like cause like we literally had nothing. Like we didn't have classes. We literally would just wrestle in the basement. That's when we got like our best. Like I think.
So you grew up in Salem, in Salem, Massachusetts. So when you kind of coming out of that COVID phase, when tournaments start up again, did you really feel like, hey, we took a step forward during COVID because we had just drilled each other for for 6-8 months?
100%. We noticed it. I had a pretty good year the year before COVID, and I just remember it was weird because when everyone went into like isolation, when everyone started to come back, there were like kids that were like you didn't think of as too special, or kids that were really special that were the opposite now. And it was like random kids were taking over, and like that kind of made us realize we're like maybe that like we were doing good things like over this year and a half. We were just wrestling each other every day. Maybe we took that jump too, and we really did take the jump after that. I think COVID, as bad of a situation as it was, I feel like we made the most of it, and I credit that time spent with him more than all the hours practicing. I think that because we were just having fun, no thought. It was just carefree, just learning, and just not really putting too much into it.
So then, soon after that, your college search process comes, and it's kind of looking at a D1 like Davidson College down in North Carolina, or the D3 opportunities, and what maybe pushed you over the edge towards Trinity versus some of your other options?
I just wanted balance. That was my main thing. When COVID hit, I loved wrestling. I've always loved wrestling. I always will. But it's just such a tough thing to completely devote your time to at all times. And I knew I was like, I've spent the last 4, 5, 6 years completely like this was my thing, not playing any other sports. Like, so I was just like, it's either I commit to this college where I'd have a Division I athletics scholarship, like I'd be able to wrestle at a Division I school. It's kind of cool. Or I felt like this was just a better option, just to have wrestling, have my student life, start to plan for the future. And I just felt like Davidson was more of just a wrestling. I wanted more of, I just wanted to go to college. And I also want to wrestle because I love the sport, and I felt like Trinity was perfect for that.
And then, Alex, what about you? Kind of same question. Now, you had the opportunity to observe your brother's experience last year and see him have success on the mat here and get an opportunity to go to nationals. So how did that factor into your thought process?
It factored into it like a little bit. I wouldn't say it was like crazy. Like I still like wanted to like do what I want. Like I wanted to go where I wanted to go. But seeing like him like have all his success, obviously that like made me like want to go there more. But honestly, the main thing that like brought me here was like my visit. Like I had like 3 visits here, and like my first one was really good. Like I talked to the coach, the assistant coach. They like brought me around campus. Like I really liked the campus, and it was right after I took a visit to the other school that I was considering, NYU, and like I like compared both the campuses, and I just like I don't know, I like this one a lot more.
So, go back to the fall. I mean, obviously, you're probably talking about it all summer, that your younger brother's going to be there, but when was the first time that you saw each other on campus in like late August, early September that you maybe weren't planning on it? Not down in the gym, but when was the first time we went, oh yeah, right, my younger brother. So
I will say, I tried at least, because I knew I came in here, not even anything to do with wrestling. I just came in here and I had a blast my freshman year. I had a great time. I loved the school. And I really wanted him to have his own like type of path, and like he kind of forges it. And I definitely wasn't opposed to him coming to Trinity, but I kind of wanted to be hands off.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to like when he got here start asking him where he is or hang out, because I kind of wanted him to have the same experience I did, meet kids, form relationships, like all that stuff. So I honestly can't say I remember the first time we saw each other. It must have just been an off chance, because I just remember, obviously I'd see him and I'd check in on him every now and then. But it was more the thing where I was like, I kind of want him to have his time, meet his people, because I wanted that when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
And I hope he's had a great time. It seems like it.
Yeah, it's just kind of
you're just talking to me now. Is that how it worked out?
It's kind of just more like college life and like home life. Like like we're still gonna like it's obviously not the same, but it's like we're still like brothers. Like, but we just have like our own like friends, our own like we have our different classes and stuff. And all that.
What's the? I'm curious now. What's that communication like? Are you guys texters? Are you or not really? Just kind of see each other practice now, and
I'm more of a call. I don't really like texting. I like to hear
Yeah.
the voice. I want to make sure that, and sometimes he'll see a text and I can answer that later. So I like to call him right away.
Yeah.
so kind of diving into this season. You're coming from a really good high school program. And you're coming to Trinity, and obviously a team that's climbing now, and partially due to both of your success. But talk about some of those differences of being in a college program and that intensity versus a high school program, where, and particularly a winning high school program, where it's just kind of like it's maybe a little more cultural all winter long versus the intensity of college wrestling. What differences have you noticed?
I would say the main difference is there's more. I think it's less on you here. It's more like there's lifts, there's practices every day, all year. In high school, as we had a really good program, but a lot of our success was because almost our whole team was also going to a club, the same club, and we were there all the time. Like during the summer, like we were there for hours during the day, just wrestling, hanging out, because those were all our best friends. And I would say it's a lot more on you in high school. If you want to be successful, you can do it. But it's on you. You have to go out to the clubs. You have to. Here, it's kind of you have the lifts. You have practices all the time. There's not as much like clubs or stuff like that, but the room is always open. There's a lot more opportunity to grow, I'd say, and obviously facilities is a lot better just because it's a college versus a high school.
Alex, what about you? Like, what have you noticed is maybe the biggest difference between the high school program and college program?
Honestly, the biggest difference I noticed was I feel like we got a lot more close as a team here, because especially during J term, we were the only people we had on campus, so it was we kind of were forced to. But yeah, I liked it though, because in high school our team was close, but I feel like we didn't like during J term we were just always together, and we would only really see our teammates in high school just during the practice or during meets. But yeah, and after season I feel like we would never even see each other. But yeah, I just feel the team chemistry is really good here.
So let's talk about the weight. Adam, now coming down from, you've wrestled maybe the first half of this year at 141 and now gently moving down to 133.
Yeah.
Alex, you're in at 125, which is it's a hard weight to maintain. You're not a little guy either. You're tall for a 125 pounder. So talk about the discipline that goes into maintaining that weight. What's the thing that maybe each of you do that's just your trick? How do you do it? I mean, and particularly when you're at college, this isn't. There's not moms in on this with you too, and kind of cooking the right things every night. You got to make good choices in the dining hall, and after the dining hall closes. So how's that work?
For me, it's a whole lot of fighting yourself. Just there's a voice in your head that's always saying this sucks. I don't want to do this. But it's honestly the hardest thing is finding sleep. Sleep's tough, but it's honestly just it's time. It's just it'll pass. I feel like that's the best thing that I have that comforts me. I'm just I will end up getting to the win. There will in 12, 24 hours I will be stepping on the scale, and then I'll be able to eat. So it's the type of thing where it's it does suck and it's very hard, but it's just knowing that it's gonna be fine. It's a bad feeling right now. You're gonna feel a lot better when you're wrestling kind of smaller guys. So I just keep telling myself that I'm gonna get to the weigh-in. I'm not gonna pass away from this weight cut. Right.
It's a lot of just finding something to do during the time, while you're suffering. Because if you're just sitting in your room, it's gonna make it worse.
Yeah.
Even just play video games or something that'll just
right.
get your mind off it.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything like that will help.
So, Alex, how have you found it this year? What were you wrestling at last year in high school?
113.
Okay, so you've got a little more flexibility this year. How have you found it where, like I said, parents are a phone call away, they're not upstairs, downstairs, checking on you. How have you found just that, finding the discipline on your own? What's your kind of support resource for that?
I haven't really needed much discipline this year because I haven't been cutting much weight, but I'm starting to because I'm like going up a little bit, but it's honestly just like a mental thing. Like I know like the weight's gonna get down at one point. It's like just like I don't know, like skipping out on like dinner, skipping out on like just like little things like that. It's like just like mental.
Is that a tricky challenge when you're obviously you were lifting before you came to college, but as you mentioned, Adam, like you're doing these lifts and they're scheduled, they're team lifts a lot. Has that been challenging? Like you're trying to gain strength while not gaining weight.
I mean, our lifts aren't that often during season. We only have 2, so it's not that bad. But for like the people that are cutting a lot of weight, I can see like there could be a problem there.
And where did you both learn how to eat the right things to be able to gain protein for muscle building without gaining too many extra calories that would cause weight gain? Like where did that information come from for you?
It's honestly just trial and error. At least for me, like obviously I've had my rounds of researching what's the best this, but I just try to eat light things, and the thing you don't really think about is you want to drink a lot of water, but also water is the heaviest. It's not the heaviest, but it's like you intake the most water. For every 16 ounces of water you drink, you eat 4 ounces of food. So it's like I could get away with eating a piece of chicken that weighs 0.4, but then once I drink the bottle of water that's right next to it, then I'll pop a pound. So there's like little things like that. Like what I try to do is I try to drink a ton of water, like a gallon a day. I try up until a day before, and then I cut out water, and that way I'm very hydrated, so I can sweat a lot, and it's just I'm purely losing water weight. So that's how you avoid the whole losing muscle. You can keep the strength because you're purely losing just water, and water will come out the easiest because it's you intake so much more. So that's essentially how I do it. If I'm eating anything, I'll sometimes before practice, like I'll even have like a pack of Skittles, like that. Even though it's candy, it's like carbs. It's very light. It's just like just to get a little energy before practice, and you'll burn it off in the first 10 minutes of practice. So it's something like that. Like it's just honestly trial and error. You see what works, see what doesn't, because you're doing it so much.
What's your Alex?
For me, with like not cutting that much weight, I try to like stay as close as possible. Like I try, if it's 25, I try to be like 24.9, because like I'd rather like eat the night before. Like I'd rather like risk like it's obviously like I'm gonna like make it because I know like how close I am. I know like I'll be under, but I'll try to make it as close as I can because like I'd rather not eat dinner and then like feel like crappy the next day. So like I try to keep it really close.
Have either of you had the experience in a dorm? Like you walk around, somebody got a care package from home, and boy, those are sweets, look really good, or something else, and you just have to keep walking by. Is that
Christmas a lot?
That's my problem though. I don't walk by. I started eating, and you guys know Shazad, our assistant. I give him so many headaches because there's so many tournaments that we'll wake up. I'll get down to my weight, go back to the hotel room or go back to my dorm. We'll be like, all right, we're all set. And then I'll wake up the next morning and he'll come to find out that, oh no, I door dashed. And he's like, oh, we have to run now. But he's always been so supportive, Shazad, and Coach Weir and Coach Amato, they talk me through it. They do workouts with me, so I'm thankful to have that. That's really been a lifesaver.
So let's talk about the next couple weeks. I mean, we're coming up on the exciting portion of the season where we really wrap things up and get ready for regionals. You had a great experience at regionals last year and got to nationals. I'm sure Alex, you were following along with what went down last year, but goals for this year, but also how do you kind of get into that mindset of getting into effectively a winner-take-all tournament like regionals?
So I'd say for both of us, we want an All-American. I'd say obviously he's a freshman, making nationals would be great for him. But I think he can All-American. I personally want to be a national champion. And I think a lot of that's just, it's all mental, honestly. I think it's like, I believe that I can beat, and I believe that he can beat anyone in the country. It's just about your mindset, your confidence, the way you go out there. Wrestling's so volatile. You can go out there and feel like the best wrestler in the world, and then the next day you could feel like you could lose to someone that you just beat by a ton. So it's the type of thing where it's like you just gotta have the right mindset. And it's honestly, for me, it's putting less into it. And it's a weird way to look at it, but I like to just not. I like to think I lose this match, I'm gonna go off the mat, drink a Gatorade, talk to my friends. It stinks. Like I wanna win, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be fine, and I think that helps me a lot because I just go out there and wrestle free, loose, and more confident.
Yeah, I feel the same way about the confidence thing. It's like I've had like a couple losses this season, but I feel like if I just keep like thinking about those and like letting them, like I'm gonna see the same kids like at regionals, so I can't like just keep like being stuck up on those losses. I kind of just like the short memory, and like because I know I can beat them, so it's all just like knowing that you can compete with anyone in the country. If you know that, then that's like half the battle.
Well said. Well, best of luck to both of you the rest of the way, as well as the entire team.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you to Adam and Alex Schaeublin. That'll do it for this conversation on the Coop. For all the latest news, scores, and schedules, go to bantamsports.com. Follow us on social media at Bantam Sports. Until next time.